Any fresh injury worries ahead of the weekend?
No, well, still, 2 more days to go. I think Benoit's trained with the team, so we'll be back in contention for the game. That's the only main change from the last game.
And how do you feel about this weekend, the scenario, going into the last game, Tottenham and Arsenal in that race for fourth
Yeah,
place?
well, I think exciting. Could be, all of the rest of the positions are more or less decided, and I would say that it's the big fixtures of the weekend will be those two.
Will the season, in your opinion, still be a success if you don't finish in the top four?
Yeah, it's not up to me to judge. We've told this time and time again in these press conferences. It's up to the board and the chairman and the owner to decide on what is considered success or not. I cannot put myself in that position. What we are striving to achieve is 72 points, which would be our Premier League highest, and I think it's already a considerable tally. And in the last 10 years or 15 years in the Premier League, apart from once or twice, hopefully not, it wouldn't be enough for you to get the fourth or even third.
In some ways, then, do you feel unlucky just that it has been so competitive this season?
No, well, unlucky, no. I think what it represents is if we don't achieve it, is one more signal that you have to push up to get closer to that group. Whenever that group is competing for the titles, the reference of points will be higher, and you have to improve, and you have to gather more points the next time.
When we think that Tottenham were 7 points clear of Arsenal in March, what's that down to now? The fact that in this situation, is that self-inflicted or more to do with Arsenal going on
It changed a lot. If you remember at that time, we were on a good run of results. Arsenal too. We managed to put a hold onto that, but Arsenal had still 1 game in hand on all of that period. So it was 7 points with Arsenal, 1 game in hand, and Chelsea 2 games at that time. It has now changed. I mean, we've got a couple of draws that put us in a different position than we were at that time. And Arsenal continued on their amazing run, and Chelsea too. So I think it was when you go past the season, you always reflect where and when you could have lost points that could have proven decisive. I think this end of season was probably when we had draws that we transformed into wins, could have given us the edge. I think anyway we are extremely satisfied, or me personally, on how the way has gone, how the season has gone.
When you think of plans for next season, will it be considerably easier to make those plans if you're in the top four? And what are the consequences if you'd miss out? Will that be more difficult to attract?
No, well, in my opinion, doesn't change nothing in the way that you set up. If making it or not, it shouldn't be too different on what you have to evolve to make you better. And if you obviously if you don't make it, there is Europa League football to look for, which is exciting, and I think the fact that Chelsea won it raises the pedigree once again in this country of the competition. If we get into the Champions League, I think is the best competition in European football. So it depends on what happens in the final fixture.
What did you make of Alan Pardew's comments about he wouldn't care that if Newcastle lost 4-0 to Arsenal now that they were safe? Is that a little disappointing to hear, or just a joke?
No, well, I think it was a little bit blown out of proportion. I have first I wouldn't mingle with other managers' choices and decision. He can do whatever he wants. What we expect is always a Newcastle side which is extremely competitive, and in the last game of the season anything can happen. So I would expect them to do their job properly. Obviously their objectives have been achieved, but everybody wants to finish the season on a high, and I think it'll still be competitive.
Can you use the scoreline from St James's Park as a motivational tool on Sunday? Will you be keeping up to date with the score during your own match?
Not sure. I think our job is to get the 3 points and achieve the tally that we want to achieve. Then I think what will happen on the other side we will know by the emotions coming from the ground. So it will be pretty easy to understand. But we won't do anything different. We just have to do our job.
And looking ahead to the plans for next season, a couple of names you have been linked with.
Yeah.
Before I get to that, Gareth Bale, there has been talk that the contract negotiations have done new £170,000 a week deal. Is there any truth in that?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure. Our interest is for the player to continue here, and we've made that very, very clear. So, whatever is happening, the idea is for the player to be with us for the next season.
Do you feel confident that? Do you think you feel confident that you'll be able to hold on to him?
Yeah, I think so.
A couple of players you've been linked with as well. Ante Rebic, £5 million Croatian striker.
I have no idea what that player is. I'm sorry.
You've never heard of him?
No, it's a player that I haven't. I don't know where the news come from. Not out of disrespect to the player, but it's not somebody that I'm looking.
You may have heard of this guy, David Villa.
Of course. Well, it's one of the world's best strikers. What comes out of speculation at this time is Tottenham is very, very surreal because this club is very, very active in the last weeks of the transfer window. So you can see that speculation is growing here and there, but at the moment we are focused on trying to get to the fourth spot.
I respect what you just said. Just finally, one other. Luke Shaw, is he a player you like at Southampton?
Any player who makes a breakthrough at the age that he has is absolutely unbelievable. It doesn't mean that there is a direct interest from Tottenham in the player, but he's a wonderful footballer for sure.
Just last couple from me. Any words of tribute on David Beckham and his retirement?
Yeah, absolutely. Sporting legend. A great career. For somebody which has such a high profile, he's been immaculate, I think, in his as a sportsman and as a person. I think a great example. Has gone past the world's best clubs and achieved so many titles. So I think is probably one of the great examples of a good sportsman in the world.
We're asking managers and players what changes they would like to see for next season, what changes you'd like the authorities to make for next season. Is there anything that comes to mind for you that you'd like to see?
I'm not sure. I have left to think about it. I'm not sure. Probably goal line technology is where we want to evolve. We didn't have. I think we had practically any incident this season regarding a situation that could have caused problems. But I think goal line technology eventually in the future, for sure.
And just finally for me, the Champions League final.
In the winter break. Ideally, I think it would benefit the intensity of the Premier League. Although, not out of disrespect for the Christmas period, which and fixtures, which mean a lot for this country.
Just finally, the Champions League final. What's your take on that? How do you see that going between the two German teams, obviously?
Well, I think a great game. Very intense. We saw the draw that they had for the league. Intense atmosphere. Great German rivalry. I think Bayern this season have been absolutely outstanding. So you expect them to have the edge. Not only because of that, but because of what they missed on last season and 2 or 3 seasons ago when they played Inter Milan. So I would say that for all of the finals that they've been present, is one more opportunity for them to do well. Dortmund hasn't been in the final for quite some time. Bayern have that maybe that edge and experience.
Thanks, Andre.
Thank you,
Jonathan.
Hi, Andre. You talk about the Champions League being the best competition in Europe. How important would it be? How significant would it be if you did qualify automatically?
Obviously, if we can only make fourth, then we will still be subject to the playoff. I think it will be a great achievement, just because we would mean that not only in terms of points, but also in terms of classification. We would meet last season classification and getting into the Champions League this time round. So I think a wonderful achievement. I think the sensation or the full sensation of a job well done.
So how disappointing if you don't do that then?
Well, I just told you. I mean, we in the past it would have been enough for us to make it. Apart from we have to wait and see this season. But apart from 2007-2008 season, where the fourth place team finished with 76 points. So it would be I think a reference for what the other teams are doing and how competitive they can be. So you would have to strengthen for next season to be able to be ready for to achieve a higher tally of points.
But there must be an element of frustration, I suppose, given you were doing so well 10 games ago. You were there ahead of both Chelsea and Arsenal.
Yeah, but different circumstances, particularly the games in hand. The picture changed a little bit now. Obviously, we lost a couple of points. I think reflecting on the season and this fine margin that goes in between Chelsea, Arsenal, and Tottenham. I would say that probably the Everton defeat from 3 points to 0 was the main mark of the season.
And in terms of how you feel the team's evolved under your leadership, how do you see the progression as your team?
I think a bit unfair for me to comment on that. We've changed dramatically. Not only the players that we've missed from last season, but from the injuries at the time that they happened. I think in Premier League football you have to be ready to suffer those injuries, and we have a very, very big squad and talented squad. But I think the way it struck us in players that were having a great season, like Sandro, like Kabul as the leader that he is, that he passed to 1 year on a blank, with the adaptations that we had to do when we missed Benoit for 4 months. So it's been difficult to cope, but we always look back at, I think, with the sensation that we've done things properly.
But in terms of achieving to get to be as high as you are, I mean, have you satisfied yourself, as you might say?
Well, I think ideally if we would make it to the 4th spot, probably will be more satisfying.
You over-exceeded it, or you exceeded your expectations, have you?
What?
If you come 4th, would you have exceeded your expectations?
No, I think what I would meet is Tottenham's expectations, which is to be in the Champions League. I think anyhow, hopefully with 72 points, if we don't achieve it, means that we can do it in the future for sure.
And what about getting closer to the top group then? What will it take then next season to make sure that you are somewhere near there as well, maybe going for the Championship?
Yeah, I think becoming more competitive. The Championship is extremely difficult, bearing in mind. Probably next year could be a good year for you to throw yourself into the title mix, bearing in mind the changes at the top. I think Chelsea next season will be absolutely the team to beat, bearing in mind the manager change and the manager that we expect to come, plus the strengthening of already a very, very good squad. So the reference, I think, will come from Chelsea. The other teams will try to put themselves in the frame. For us, is our step at the moment is to be into the Champions League. Not probably title contenders, but we hope to be competitive next season if we manage to do things properly in the summer.
So how key is it that you get into the Champions League to attract the type of players that you would want to mount the challenge?
Not sure if it's that key, because I think Tottenham has a great tradition in football, as conditions that other clubs don't have, particularly these facilities. And I think we have a group of players that attract other players to come here. They're good quality players, and other players, although in bigger or same level squads, would want to join up and play with them.
I know it's the name keeps coming again, Gareth Bale, but how key is it that you do qualify and keep him? You say you're confident, but I wonder why.
I've told
if you come
this,
fifth, what
I've
happens
told you
then?
this numerous times. We're pretty confident that we will be able to keep it.
Put your job on it?
What's that?
Put your job on it.
My job on?
You'll put your job on keeping Gareth Bale, will you?
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it makes very sense.
No, I think we've
Put lots of money on it, basically.
He's made the point a number of times that it's
Right.
not about.
Thank you very
There we
much.
are. Thank you.
That's fine.
Cheers.
Andre, can I just clear up? Did you say that Chelsea will be the team to beat next season?
I think so. I
Obviously,
think it will be the reference of the team going for the title. Is that a bad thing to say?
so that you're saying that they'll be favourites for the Premier League title next season
I think so, yeah.
with their new manager coming in, Jose Mourinho.
With the new manager coming.
Can I just ask you about Sunday as well? Who do you think's got the tougher game, yourself or Arsenal?
Difficult. I mean, Sunderland are extremely motivated, as you can understand from Di Canio's words. Newcastle have gone from a position where pressure was immense to a position of comfort, which I think in their case, bearing in mind how big the club is, can serve as a relief for the players, and they will be able to express themselves in a different way. So different circumstances. I think Sunderland have lived on that moments of pressure for quite some time. Paulo has managed to get them into salvation, and I think bearing in mind his warnings to his players, both games will be very, very competitive. Anything can happen, basically.
So it kind of brings us to the point. Every time, every year, this time of the year, we talk about teams who haven't necessarily got anything to play for, the integrity of the Premier League. Are you happy with the fact that Newcastle will, be 100% focused and looking to end their season on a high?
It's very difficult. At that time, when I had the opportunity with Porto, when we were champions, I rotated the squad the same. I threw competitive squads in because we had lots of good players, but I rotated the squad. I think, and I did the same in Academica after I achieved salvation, because it's something that you feel that the others have a right to do, the others who haven't had the chance to play a part in the season. Obviously, you can't compromise the club's objectives and you achieving, the most amount of points as possible. So I cannot put myself in a position of criticism, but I think any team that Newcastle will throw or Sunderland will throw will be competitive teams.
Lovely. Okay. Can we have the cameras off now, please? Thank you.